everybody. I'm Lynn Petrak, Senior Editor at Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery. It's a podcast focused on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in grocery retail. In this podcast, we shine a light on the extraordinary women in the grocery industry who've had successful careers and interesting lives. And today, our top woman in grocery is also a top trailblazer in grocery, Mary Ellen Adcock, who we honored at the recent Top Women in Grocery Gala in Orlando with the Trailblazer Award, and she was featured in our June issue as well. So welcome, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm glad to be here.
Just a little bit of background on you. I'm just going to share a little bit of your bio, if that's okay. She is SVP of Operations for the Kroger Company, responsible for all supermarket stores and divisions. She leads the company's strategy to improve the customer experience for 11 million shoppers a day, while creating a better workplace for 480,000 associates across nearly 2,800 stores. She also leads an asset protection, process change, productivity improvement initiatives, and enterprise food safety. She joined Kroger in 1999 in the company's manufacturing division, and she held several manufacturing leadership positions, including human resources manager, general manager, regional operations manager. Mary Ellen was promoted to vice president of deli bakery manufacturing in 2009. In 2012, was promoted to VP of natural foods, then to VP of merchandising and operations for the Columbus division 2 years later. She's also an active community member, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about that as well. And she sponsors Kroger's Young Professionals Associate Resource Group. So that's a little background on you. Thanks again for joining us today.
Great. Thank you.
So you mentioned one of the things I was struck by in your speech at the Trailblazer Award at our recent Grocery Industry Week in Orlando. You talked about how it was almost fate that you got into this industry, that you went to Kroger, to the grocery store when you were young. Tell us a little bit about that and maybe how it shaped your career.
Yeah, it did. It shaped me actually as a person and my career. So for me, I grew up in a small town, Madisonville, Kentucky, and for us, going to the grocery was not just a shopping trip, it was an event. And so Kroger has been really part of my life as far as I can remember. And the main thing is that it was really so integral to the community. And that's what really made it special. And also it was fun to go there, not just from, all that it had to offer as, providing food for the family, but also as an experience. And so that's what really connected me early to say, hey, I love this. I want to be part of this industry that really makes a difference for people and this company. So I knew that Kroger was a great brand and a great company and a trusted company that I wanted to be a part of. And so when I had a chance to become part of the Kroger Company in 1999, I was thrilled because I'd grown up with it. And so that really means a lot to me, both as a person and for a career. And that's what's so great about it, is our connection to people and communities.
Then that's the perfect segue, because I was going to bring up another thing you talked about. You had a customer, Kelsey, who had a wedding and had an issue with a wedding. So how is that illustrative of your approach to grocery retail and Kroger's approach to how you helped save her wedding?
Yeah, it's a great example of what our associates do every day. They just love to take care of our customers. And really, when you go and we talk to associates after, we have these great stories, and they'll always say, I was just doing my job. They believe that's what they're here to do. And so at the center of our go-to-market strategy is the customer experience and the associate experience. And that example of Kelsey, where she woke up on her wedding day and learned that her bakery was not going to be able to provide the cake and cookies, and then her guests going down to the Kroger and our team coming together and making a beautiful cake and cookies for her that day. And the thing that was so special about it is that the very next day, she sent us a picture and a thank you note saying, you saved my wedding. And so it really warms your heart. And again, this was the same thing when we talked to the store afterwards. They said, this is just what we do, and we wanted to make it special for her. And we have examples of that all over the country where our customers really just want to uplift.
Absolutely. And has that shaped the people, the sense of people and community? How's that shaped your own career? And if you could share a little bit about that.
Well, actually, so I learn from our associates every single day, and it really is that approach of the customer first. So really leading by our values and our go-to-market strategy, which has the customer and the associates at the center. And so that's really been that guiding principle for Kroger and all about my career is to what is the customer saying, and that's going to change over time. And we continue to adapt with the customer, whether it's the experience at the store or the evolution of digital and shopping online and how we bring them together. That's emerging with the customer, and then also really saying how do we make the job easier for the associates, because the associate experience empowers the customer experience. And so the two are very intertwined, and that really is the center at all of our decisions and keeping those at the first foremost as we make decisions and process changes.
And what about the people around you? Who are some of your earliest influencers, Mary Ellen? And then how, at the same time, are you influencing others, especially maybe as part of this resource group that you sponsor?
Yeah, so
Two questions. Sorry about that.
I'm super fortunate to have incredible parents. And so they have been very supportive of me. My father was an entrepreneur, and he has myself and my sister. And so he was always very much an advocate of supporting us as females, that we could be successful in business and giving us confidence and the ability to do that. And then my mother worked for the community college and always was supporting first generation college students. So she was also a very advocate of education. And so I was very fortunate not only to go to college, but then also working for Kroger, had participated in what's now called Feed Your Future, which is a best-in-class program where we provide $21,000 per year annually of education assistance. And so that combination of support for work ethic and just that support that you can do anything you put your mind to, along with education, is how I really have been very beneficial to have that support in my life from my parents. And then as you go through that, I've also had tremendous mentors and inspiration with the Kroger company. So for example, when I was in the Columbus division, I had a great team of female leaders and all leaders, but particularly female leaders that really taught me about how you can lead in business and also have a family. And I learned that from my team. And that's a great that, we learn from all different parts of the organization. Your team can be a great place to get inspiration, which then leads into the last part of your question is then now we all have the responsibility to be mentors, to pay it forward, to support others, to uplift each other. And I'm also fortunate to be the executive sponsor of our Young Professionals Associate Resource Group. And we have a number of associate resource groups. And those are also just to find that connection with people that other individuals can connect to for mentoring, for personal development, so that everybody can continue to grow and develop in the ways that they need best. Because everybody needs to have people they can connect with in different places and parts of the organization.
Yeah, and I would say, and I think, you see this probably every day in the things you do, this is more important than ever. This is so important to the younger generation, including the younger generation of women coming up, the understanding of how important these connections are and these relationships are, right?
Absolutely. The connections and finding them in different ways is even more important, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, whether it's associate resource group, but having people that you can connect with and mentor is very important. And also, I think more important, and more than ever, it's important to also take the initiative to find those. Sometimes I think people will feel like, oh, it's hard to find a mentor or somebody that you connect with. You do sometimes have to just seek it out. And when you find somebody that you connect with, or you see somebody that has a special skill that you want to learn from, it is important, from my experience, to take the initiative to reach out to them and say, hey, I saw you giving this presentation, or I saw you in this meeting, or I saw you, in this virtual meeting, and reach out to say, I'd like to spend some time to learn more about that, or to see how you built that skill. And that's okay to do that. A lot of times when people say, hey, I'm happy to help you, and they mean it, but you have to reach out to them and nurture that relationship just like any relationship. But it's more important than ever in today's environment, for sure.
And I think, it started when we started in this industry, it was more of a male-dominated world. That's changing a little bit. But what advice do you have for maybe some young women that are coming into this industry who are still maybe navigating a little bit of that, or trying to find their way and make their mark?
Yeah, it definitely is changing, which is great. And organizations like this help us uplift each other and come together. From my perspective, it's really about thinking about kind of your brand and how you want to show up and being thoughtful about that. Anytime that we're in meetings or opportunities that you have exposure, really sort of thinking about what do you want people to say about that. And I've used really that the pie, performance image exposure, as sort of a framework. And when you think about that, performance is your performance. How do you, because the most important thing we can do is do a great job in the current job that you're in and show
Mhm.
performance and show results and show how you make a difference and really thrive in the job that you're in. At the same time, though, you want to think about your image, and that's how you want to show up, your brand, what you want
Mhm.
people to say, and being very thoughtful about that. And that's a place, to really think about when you have the opportunity to be prepared. And then the other is exposure. And that's similar around when you have that opportunity, when you're going to be somebody that's in an influential position or you have a big presentation, be prepared for it. Kind of what is that elevator speech that you want people to know? What are that thing that your team is doing well that you want to make sure when you have the opportunity that you tell people about? And so I think being prepared and being thoughtful about those in advance can also be helpful when you have those moments to make sure that you're, really telling your story.
Mhm. Well, and this industry is really been marked by, and something we notice every time when we read Top Women in Grocery Awards and we read about the trailblazers like you, is people have been in this industry a long time. Do you think some of that longevity in the industry is possible when you deploy some of these approaches that you talked about?
Oh, definitely. I think longevity is a great thing. And actually, the one thing that's really great about our industry is we're really now having much more of a combination of both, where we have the longevity, we have that traditional knowledge, which is very important. At the same time, as we continue to evolve, we're infusing a lot of talent from different industries, whether it be from tech industry, from communication, from all other parts. And that combination is really making us better for the future, especially when you bring those two together
Mhm.
and you bring in new and innovative thinking combined with the longevity and the history. And that really is helping us innovate and helping us grow faster. And it's helping us have better solutions for the customer and the customer experience as well. And I think that will continue as we go forward is that mix of how we bring in new and fresh thinking from other places
Mhm.
combined with the rich history and tradition that we have in the industry as well.
That's very potent, that's for sure. And then how would you describe your leadership style, Mary Ellen?
For me, I mean, it's always evolving and changing. But a couple of different things is that feedback is something really to be cherished and to work hard at having avenues for feedback because it's so important that you're getting feedback and in a really 360 view because that what helps us understand what's going well and where we need to continue to evolve and take feedback from all level of the organization. So that would definitely be one. I think a next is really kind of finding your North Star. And, for me, that really is that customer and the associate. And
Mhm.
so when you're making decisions, when you're prioritizing, when you're thinking forward and around the corner, really, what is the customer telling us? What is the associate telling us? Keeping that as your North Star. And the third would really be embracing change and evolution. And that we've definitely seen over the last couple of years. And I think that is certainly important for a leader of in all levels is to embrace change, embrace evolution, and be prepared for it and evolving to it. And that's going to continue as we go forward and even get faster. So those
Mhm.
would really be kind of three ways that I would describe the leadership style. But I would also say it's evolving. I'm always looking for, okay, what do I need to do to be more and more effective as a leader? Because we're always learning, we're always growing, and that's the exciting thing about the industry is it is changing, and we have to be able to change with it.
Absolutely. And on that note, what's next for food retail and what are some big opportunities that you see in the future? It certainly hasn't been a dull decade.
Yes, that is true. It has not been a dull decade, and the exciting thing is I don't expect the future to be dull
Mhm.
either. I think that's really just building on the theme is expect change and expect change to even come at a faster pace than it has, which is even kind of hard to believe. But the customer continues to change and evolve. I mean, when you look at where we've been to where we are and how fast the whole transformation of digital has come into the
Sure.
industry and how the
Mhm.
customer really wants to be able to shop across all channels, whether that's in store, whether it's pickup, whether it's delivery, ship to home, and to be able to move across all of the channels, that definitely will continue to evolve and move forward. And then also innovation, that this industry will continue to innovate as we build on those, as we continue to bring in technology more and more to improve the experience, then that's just going to continue to bring more change and evolution for the better. I mean, this is all great for the customer as it just gives them more flexibility, more convenience, and more choices in the experience, which is what we all want to have.
And preparation and innovation, those are the key words as we're kind of going forward. There's more unanticipated things probably out there, for
Exactly.
sure. And what are some lessons that you've learned in your career, Mary Ellen, or advice maybe that you'd share with women who are in various stages of building their own careers?
Yeah, so a couple of things about that. One, building on the theme that we talked about is around mentorship and being a mentor and having a mentor. And that is something that I really do feel like is critical and that we all have to have mentors and again seeking them out. And as I was mentioning around taking the initiative, because I had that experience one time is that I had a mentor that had said I was going to a new job and he said, hey, I'm here if you need me. And then I had, a couple of experiences. It was a challenging year. And I saw him later and he said, hey, you never called me. And that was really kind of where a light bulb went on for me to say, you know what? People do want to help you. They're there for you, but we have to reach out and not be afraid to reach out and ask for help or ask, what do you think about this? Or how can I learn from that? And then at the same time, paying that forward and being a mentor to others. So that one I do think is really key and foundational. And then the other piece that I've learned is that it really is important to be authentic to yourself, but to be persistent and to be positive. And you can do all of those at once. And that being persistent, that's okay. You just want to do it in a positive way. And sometimes you have to be persistent. So, for example, I had a situation where we had a people decision, and my leader at the time really, did not agree with me around my recommendation. And so I went back 3 times because I really felt strongly around that this person was the right decision. And sometimes it can be uncomfortable, to push back on your supervisor, but in the right way, then it sometimes can be really important. And then a year later, he came back and said, you know what, that really was the right decision. And so I think it just is being authentic to yourself. You want to be positive, but you can also be persistent. And sometimes it takes that for us to, really kind of step out there and make decisions and lead change.
Speaking of positivity, in addition to honoring people in our industry, which we love to do, do you have an example of someone or something that on your team has done something that you're proud of that you might want to give a little bit of a shout out?
So I'm really proud, even, well, there's lots of things, but most recently, we really stand for fresh as a competitive advantage for Kroger. And the team has been doing a lot of work of how do we even extend our freshness to the customer. And we've been on this effort of end-to-end fresh. And just last week, we had the great opportunity to recognize one of our stores that had gone over half a year of great consistent performance on fresh, and we surprised that team in publisher clearinghouse style, showing up
Oh, fun.
with balloons, cameras, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards to give the store team 1 million fuel points. And so that was really exciting in terms of how that the store is delivering fresh for our customers, showing we can doing it consistently, leading by example for the other stores, And then we were able to recognize that store team so that they could feel good about it. And then we're also taking those videos and sharing them with other stores to show that this is something that we really can do. So I was super proud of the store team for delivering that, our end fresh team for the great work they're doing, and this great idea to recognize the store team as well. It was
That's a
really
great
fun
thing.
how you can also have fun at work at the same time.
And you have a large and growing number of stores across the country. So this is important, and every one of them, because every one of them have top performers and creative thinkers and people doing things like this with fresh and other things in all of those stores.
Absolutely. That's what makes it special.
Absolutely. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mary Ellen. We really, really appreciate you taking time with us to share your insights.
Great. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you very much. It's been a great honor. We appreciate it.
Looking forward to the exciting things ahead in the new year.
So are we. 2023 is going to be another great year.
I think
Thank
so.
you.
I think it'll be a busy one. And for more information on Top Women in Grocery podcast, please visit progressivegrocer.com/podcast. You can also subscribe to the series wherever you typically listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, and Spotify. And if you have an idea for Top Women in Grocery podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to me at lptrack@ensembleiq.com.